As you try to market or pitch your ETF, how do you convince the Fidelities of the world to put money to work into gaming when it really tends to appeal to a younger audience?
That's a great question, and for us it always comes back to the data. You're talking about a gaming industry that's $150 billion this year, growing about 10% per year. That's larger than the music and film industries combined. 400 million esports viewers this year, growing to 600 million. I think it's only a matter of time before those larger investors start to catch wind of exactly how big this industry really is.
What you just watched right there was one of the largest fund managers in the world for this esports and streaming industry. Ticker symbol NERD, or NERD, is one of the largest esports and gaming ETFs that you can find in the world, and that right there is one of their managers. Now, I think in that CNBC video, he described it perfectly. And just so you know, as of the end of 2020, what is their second largest holding in that ETF? Well, you guessed it, good old Corsair Gaming. Now, Corsair Gaming, in case you didn't know already, is the second largest position in my portfolio. I own a little over $6,000 worth of the stock, 200 shares at an average price of $31.34, and I'm currently selling covered calls against my position. But Corsair Gaming, ticker symbol CRSR, is one of the most undervalued stocks in the entire stock market. In terms of a risk versus reward opportunity, it is arguably it's the most undervalued stock that I can possibly find across thousands of stocks and different stocks in the market. Currently, right now, from the time I'm filming this video, it trades at a current price of $29.52. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to look at the forward PE ratio of a company. If you don't know what that is, look it up. Basically, it's a way of valuing a company. The lower that number is, the more value you're getting in terms of your investment. The higher that number is, the less value that you're getting in terms of your investment. Right now, it currently trades at $29.52, and they're projected to get $2.01 in terms of earnings per share in 2022, next year. So go ahead and bust out your calculators and you will see that Corsair Gaming with 29.52 divided by 2.01, and it currently has a forward PE ratio of 14.68. And now, for those of you that don't know, the market usually trades at an average rate of about 18, 20, 22 in terms of forward PE ratio. So for a company that's this below the average in the market, is it time? Is it a bad company to invest in? Should you not invest in it at all? Well, we're going to go over all the reasons in this video why I think it's a fantastic company and so undervalued for so many reasons. If you haven't got it checked out already, go ahead and check out below down in the description. M1 Finds is having a promotion to get $50 to get signed up with your investment. So if you want to buy Corsair Gaming stock or check out my portfolio firsthand, go ahead and check that out down below for $50 for getting signed up. But Corsair Gaming has a balance sheet that is incredible. They currently have $121 million in cash and about $294 million worth of long-term debt. So basically that long-term debt is about 2.5 times the amount of debt that their cash on hand. Not anything that's out of control, but pretty financially healthy. But what does this company actually do? Well, first off, I'm going to show you this photo, and they own 4 different brands that you can see at the top of the photo. They own Corsair, Elgato, Origin, and Scuff Gaming. Now you can see from this photo that pretty much anything that has to do with esports or streaming or gaming, specifically gaming PCs, this company is invested in it. They have products that are selling in those categories. Now, from basic PC units to streaming decks and microphones and controllers, scuffs for the controllers, headsets accessory, lighting equipment, camera equipment, keyboards, you name it, this company has it all. Anything to do with streaming and gaming, like I said, they pretty much got it all. Now, I know what you might be thinking, Jordan, it does not matter if they produce just a lot of basic streaming and gaming equipment. There's lots of companies out there that does that. What makes this company important? What makes this company special? This shows the ranking for this company for the products that it sells in the gaming and streaming system. In keyboards, it ranks second among its competitors. In terms of its mice that it sells, it's third place among its competitors, fourth place in terms of headset, second place in terms of streaming peripherals, second in terms of performance controllers, number 1 in memory cards, number 2 in cases, 1 in power supply units, number 1 in cooling solutions, and you can see pretty much across the board, nearly every single product that they sell, they're almost always first, second, or third place. In a lot of those categories, they were number 1 and number 2. So not only do they sell a lot of different products, are they really undervalued, but they're leading the area in almost every single product that they sell, okay? So just keep that in mind. Okay, back to me, and let's go ahead and take a look at one more thing in the top page on their investor relations page. So if you go to Google and you type in Corsair Gaming Investor Relations, okay, you will find that on their main investor page, it has a big tab that's labeled Why Invest. And in that tab, you will see that it has multiple statistics, and I'm going to go ahead and pull that up on the screen right now. It breaks it down into many main bullet points. This is once again on their public website. 2020 net revenue of $1.7 billion, 75 different countries supported, 190 million gaming and streaming products have been shipped, 18.3% peripheral market share, 41.9% PC component market share, 36 billion estimated market size, and #1 market share position in 2020. And one key statistic I want to point out there, it talks about its market size. Now keep that number of market size in the back of your head. We'll be going over more of that in just a second because I want to talk about the growing opportunity for the gaming and streaming industry itself. Now let's go ahead and jump into the overall numbers of this company. Let's dig into some of the financials real quick. Let's look at the net income and net revenues for this company going over the last several years. Now those of you that don't know, it hasn't been a public company very long, so these numbers only go back the last couple of years. 2017 they did 855 million, 2018 they did 935 million, 2019 they did 1.09 billion, 2020 was a huge jump up thanks to the pandemic with $1.7 billion, and then in 2021 they're expected to do much higher than that, and it's going to finish out somewhere right around $2 billion, which you can see year after year after year after year, this company continues to grow in terms of their top line revenue. In terms of bottom line, in terms of profitability, 2020 was the first big year that they reached profitability, and once again, last year they produced an earnings per share, they produced about $1.60. 2021, they're expected to produce about $1.81, and then next year, as we mentioned earlier, they're expected to do about $2.01. So this company's growing revenues, it's growing profitability, they have a large market share in their position, they are usually #1 or #2 for almost every single product that they sell, they have a great balance sheet, they have a great management team, and this company is undervalued in the market. But let's talk a little bit about how much this industry is expected to grow, regardless of how Corsair performs. Let's talk about the industry as a whole for a second. By the way, I forgot to mention earlier, you can see this on the chart right here. It currently has its revenue split almost exactly third by third, almost evenly in terms of memory products, gaming and creator peripheral segment, and then other component products. So they also have diversified revenue stream. It's not all from one item. Of all the products that we showed earlier, it's not just one or two that is the bulk of that revenue. It's pretty much split evenly between all those products that we mentioned. But let's go ahead and go to that market size. Now we're going to show multiple different estimates, multiple different charts, and it's hard to know exactly what the gaming industry will grow down to the exact number because at the end of the day, it hasn't happened yet. All we can do is forecast, all we can do is predict, but this is just an example, so take this with a grain of salt, and this is just to give you an idea of whether or not the industry will be growing or not. So these numbers may vary, it may grow 7%, it may grow 10%, but this is once again just to give you an idea. Now let's go ahead and look at this picture right here, and this goes ahead and shows the value of the video games industry. And it shows the real numbers going from 2012 up to 2020, and then after that it shows forecasts, and once again, you can see that the gaming industry is projected to grow based off of this article. Next up, we have another article, and this is from techjury.com. And this gives you a good estimate of what they're projecting from what the research that they found that the gaming industry will grow from now and 2025. Now this growth rate is pretty similar to what I've seen across the board. Usually about 7 to 9% is normally what I've seen from different articles online and different research papers. And this one on this article online shows that a growth rate of 9.17% compounded, it is forecasted to grow between now and 2025. A 9% growth rate for any industry is a good one. That's one that I want to see for a company like Corsair Gaming, which is absolutely great news. Now the streaming market is a little bit more difficult. It's a lot smaller than gaming in general. It's kind of a subset of gaming, of course. Those of you that are into Twitch or that are into Crsr, rest in peace. If you are into streaming, you probably know a little bit about it, and it's a lot smaller subset of the gaming industry in general. But that said, it's hard to find data on it, but I did find this. This is the chart I'm showing on the screen right now, and this shows the Asia Pacific video streaming market size by streaming type. And it goes all the way back to 2017, and it starts projecting the market size between now and 2028. Now it doesn't give a number for a growth rate, but once again, this is just to give an idea, and this is what they're expecting that to look like by 2028 based off their predictions. You can see that the streaming is growing at a rapid pace, and some of the numbers that I found online range anywhere from about 15 to 25%. Which is so much higher than anywhere you can find compared to the gaming market in general. So not only is gaming as a whole growing, but streaming is growing at a much faster pace. And that is great because what is one of the brands that Corsair Gaming owns? Well, they own Elgato, and they produce lots of different streaming products. Okay, I just wanted to show one last picture to supplement my point here. You see that big photo? Do you see on the photo that there's that big Earth-looking structure? It looks like a big globe. Well, that is the new building, the new esports gaming building that is being built in Las Vegas. Now, they're going to spend, I believe it's over $1 billion on this building. Now, it doesn't really matter so much for Corsair about this building at all, but I'm going to show it here to prove a point. The gaming industry is growing, and if I was wrong, why would people be willing to build massive buildings like this? This is the type of gaming building that has never been built before. Or not just with gaming, this type of building has never really been built before in general. And the fact that they're willing to pour this type of money into esports really is a sign of good faith. And this is just one of many examples of huge structures and huge investments being made into the space. Just like we showed at the beginning of the video with ticker symbol NERD, ticker symbol NERD. That ETF has its second largest holding into Corsair Gaming, and this is a perfect example of why, because so many investments are being made into the space. So overall, to reiterate, to go over and bring together and conclude everything in this video that we just showed, I own 200 shares of Corsair Gaming at $31.34. I am looking to increase that position. If I could get it below $30 a share, I think it's absolutely insane. I think that since it will grow at a steady compounded annual growth rate of probably somewhere in the range of 6 to 10% over the next 5 years, I think it's a great opportunity for a double up. Here's some of the projections that I'm running over the next 5 years and why I think it has a definite possibility of doubling up my money over the next 5 years. This will show some conservative growth rates on the screen, and this gives you an opportunity to decide whether or not you want to invest in Corsair Gaming. It's not financial advice, but this just shows estimates that I run and how I determine my decision for owning the stock. Now, to go over everything once again, they have a PE ratio that is under 15, which on average is way below the average in the market. Overvalued or not, 15 for a growing company like this that is very profitable is so good. You will almost never find this across the board with any other company. They have a great balance sheet. They have a PE ratio that is low. They have a great balance sheet that is not unhealthy by any means. They're not drowning in debt. They have plenty of opportunities to raise capital through the form of debt if they needed to further more acquisitions. So that was number 2, and number 3, we have a growing industry. The gaming industry and the streaming industry is growing massively. The gaming industry, based on what I can see online, is looking at growing anywhere between 8 and 9% every year. In the streaming industry, 15 to 20%. Well, who knows? But all we know is that it's going to be in the double digits, and it's going to grow massively over the next 5 years. So not only is it a growing industry, it's very profitable, has a great balance sheet, has a great management team, but people are investing heavily into the space. And that's not just your little players, that's your big dogs as well. From large hedge funds to ETFs to just already large trillion and billion-dollar companies, many of them are investing heavily in the gaming space, and that's why you see big announcers like Netflix coming out that they're entering the gaming space as well. But all these reasons are why I believe in Corsair Gaming, why I own 200 shares of the stock, and why I'll continue to own these shares for likely the next several years or until I made some good money on the stock. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you didn't already, go ahead and get signed up with M1 Finance for $50. All you gotta do is sign up with the brokerage, get $50 for signing up, and you can use that to go buy some Corsair Gaming stock, ticker symbol CRSR. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.